Hi everyone, and welcome to our very first live stream for the Househould Kickstarter campaign, the upcoming Kickstarter campaign. My name is Elena. I am joined here today by designers Rico Sirignano and Simone Formicola. How are both of you today?
Fine, thank you.
We're good, thank you.
It's the early evening in Italy, correct?
Correct.
It's the early afternoon here in Brazil. This live stream will be a battle of accents.
Yes, that's true.
People are still joining us. So before we start talking about the game itself, I just wanted to ask, how did you two start working together? Where did you meet?
Actually, we meet way back then. It was like 2015, something like that, if I remember correctly. And me and Rico were working different jobs. I was an actor. He was a director, fresh from the academy. We just finished our course, and we meet playing a role-playing game, an Italian role-playing game called Anime San. When we started playing that game and turned that particular game into a web series. We started working together that way as a video company. That's how we begin. Always in the in the role playing world, but as a very different kind of stuff. And then years went by, and back in 2018, while we were working on another set, we started developing Househould, and that was I don't know how to call it, Rico, like settings, an idea, a word which has been lived a long way before me and Rico even meet. The fun part is that maybe Rico will.
Because I actually wrote the first the first draft of what was where to become Househould with Claudia. That is today Simone's wife. So it's like a family story, because I met Claudia writing Househould, and then Claudia met Simone through me, and then they married, and they just had a baby. And meanwhile, me and Simone proceed to make this game that is Househould, that we actually wrote during a set. We were working on a set for the Italian television while we had time to spare. There is a lot of like empty time when you're writing or shooting something. And we decided to, since we have obviously some mental issues, we decided to write a game during this empty time, and that was Househould, which actually went pretty well in Italy. It was awarded Game of the Year that same year, and one thing led to another, and now we are doing this brand new edition.
It's interesting that you both have a background in films and television. Do you think that reflects on the way the game plays?
Heavily, I would say. Yes. We try to convey in our game the same logic that stands behind a movie, behind the kind of movie we like and love. But I let Rico speaks about it because it's
well, movies as these especially action movie, adventure movie, we're talking like family movies, the movies we used to watch in the 90s, of course, were a huge inspiration. And movies have this kind of flowing action. You are always on the move, everything is meaningful to the story. And we actually started from a fairly famous movie, which was the Mummy, the 1999 Mummy with starring Brendan Fraser, and that was our first our first inspiration. this kind of fun adventure, like a positive adventure for everybody. And that's where we started working at Household, and we started working at the Fortune system, which is our set of mechanics that we later used for Broken Compass, and now we have revised it again for Household.
So the Mummy somehow led to a game about fairies in the Regency era. Okay.
It's true indeed.
It's hidden in there.
It is what it is.
Okay, you do you know. I guess it worked. I mean, you won RPG of the Year. Well, speaking about that, this week we have reviewed all 3 covers for the 3 books available from day 1 on the campaign. And we reviewed the covers and we were very short about the content. I would like you guys to talk a little bit more about each book if you can. And everyone in the audience, if you have questions, just leave them in the comments. We'll answer them as we go. We want to interact with you. That's the reason why we're doing this live. So we are more than welcome to participate. And let's start.
Whoa.
Okay, so the book in the right is volume 1, correct? What's in there?
That's the core book. And first of all, this is something new for this edition, that we actually have covers, because the first edition of Household is this one was just like a plain pattern. So we actually upgraded this edition with this amazing cover made by our Daniela Giubellini, that some of the people in the audience maybe know for Broken Compass, of course. And volume 1 is the core book of the game. It has everything you need to play, rules for the for the player, for making characters, and of course rules for the master, for the GM that we call the narrator, and also the history of Household and the setting of Household, the items, the profession, literally the enemies, the adversaries, literally everything you need. And it's called volume 1 because Household has not only geographical, it's not only a geographical setting, like it's set inside the house, but it's also like a chronological setting, because Household is or the adventure in Household takes place in 5 years that we call volume 1. So later in the years to come, we'll probably have a volume 2 that is going to expand the history and the geography of the game. So that's our main book, and this is his grandfather. So
Gaia here was actually mad that you called our baby plain.
Yeah,
we love it as well.
But we couldn't resist. We had to add this kind of band that wraps on the back of the book and recalls our purple pattern.
And the volume 1 is actually all you need to be able to play the game, correct?
Yes. It contains the rules for character creation, the lore of the household, of course, the chronology, the saga, the chronology of the main events, main historical events in which you will have, you can have a part, and beasts and animals and whatsoever, everything you need to play the game. 100%.
Let me just get a question we got here really quickly before we move on. Hi, Simone. Hi. I'm answering the name of Simone. Big fan of your games. Thank you. Haven't been able to read much about Household yet, but is this a role-playing game similar to D&D? What do you guys have to say about that?
Well, I think if you want to know more about the Household, we talk about that later, but there are 3 Kickstart guide that you can just download and read with almost 100 page with the basic rules, the basic lore, and even an adventure ready to play. So if you're interested, there's that. And if you mean that with a role-playing game similar to D&D, it's a game when you have several gamers playing characters and one of the players taking the role of master, yes, it is similar to D&D in this case, but it has a completely original game system, which is very far from D&D.
Yeah.
That's what
it's
different.
Sorry.
Go.
We focused on narration. D&D, it's a game that's based on combat and dungeon crawling. And Household, of course, you can fight spiders, as you see on one of the covers in Household. So fighting is part of the game, but it's not the
main focus.
Yeah, it's not the main goal of the game. It's actually more narrative game. But yes, there is a 100 free quick start guide, so feel free to dig in.
Okay, so moving on to the Saga of the Fragile Piece.
The Saga of the Fragile Piece is the second of this set of books, and it contains a lot of stuff. It has basically the tools to live and to play an entire and complex saga with more than 20 pre-generated characters with their background and history, and the tools to make a huge playable event. I don't know how to call it. It contains 6 pre-generated adventure ready to play. Oh, we have just
wow.
There are all the various groups that intertwines. I love this term, intertwines. Very beautiful. During 5 years of their lives and live wonderful adventures. You have all the rules to play this character. 6 full adventure just to start, and the I don't know how to call it, a summary. I don't know. Info to build more than 60 other adventure using the same character and developing their history throughout 5 years of their life. A lot of years. Yeah.
Basically, it's a pre-made campaign.
Yes.
Just for the one that are not familiar with the term Saga that we use in Household, but it's a playable campaign. You have 24 characters to play this campaign, and I showed you these 2 pages because every square, every 4 character is actually an event you can play. It's a quest. So there are going to be a lot of quests. Some of them, of course, are very detailed. Some of them are just inspiration on which you can build up, but they have everything you need to know. They have the adversary you need to fight, all the circumstances, how do you have met, where are you, what do you have to do. So it's basically a very big campaign book.
It has a very epic epilogue, which will close this particularly difficult era of the game.
And finally, we have the practical guide to living inside the house. What's that? What's in that?
That's a lore compendium, so it adds out a lot of details to the history of the house, to the geography of the house. It contains a lot of new adversary, a lot of new character customization options, a lot of new objects, new contracts. Without something very important in Household, we have these things called contracts that are basically the only magical stuff you can find in this setting, because it's actually low magic or no magic at all. So it's basically a compendium or a companion with a lot of useful information about the house and the people, the little people who lived inside it. But I cannot spoil too much. You know, I cannot say anything, so don't give me time to speak, Helen.
Just to let everybody know, there are things that we are not saying. So
well,
rest assured, there are more than we are saying, not less. That's for sure.
well, they do seem like heavy books, so I'm not surprised. I saw a question here that is very interesting. Can your actions change the campaign outcome?
Yes, they can. They can modify how the campaign goes. There are going to be also suggestion on how to make every choice matter. So that you, of course, you are playing inside of a frame. So there are things that are bound to happen, but you can change how they happen or how they will, or they will not interfere with your story. So it's kind of hard to explain, but it's like when you're playing Household, when you're playing the campaign, the Saga of the Fragile Piece. Imagine you are playing like in Lord of the Rings, like in one of these big franchise, and so there are things that are going to happen. Frodo will find the ring. The game does not have an option for this thing not to happen. Of course, you are the game is yours once you bought it, so you can do whatever you want. But there are some fixed elements, but you can move inside those elements. And I've seen, because people in Italy already have this game since like a couple of years. So I've seen what they have done with the Saga, and
very different outcome, we can say. very
everybody come out with different with different idea on how to evolve the story. And since the whole idea behind Household is that we want to reconstruct the Saga, we want to reconstruct the history, like we are historian, we are not players playing, we are historian looking to find the truth of this saga. We actually ask for players and for group to send us their
report,
their diaries, how their stories went for them, and then we are trying to reconstruct what is the reality. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty interactive, I would say.
Cool. Before we go any further, I think it's time for our, I don't know, I guess our big review for the day, the teaser.
Yeah.
Yes. I think
you guys here will see it firsthand. It hasn't been posted yet, so let's just take a look at what's in store. Oh my God, Daniela's art is just so good, right?
Yes, it is.
Everything looks so like fully fleshed and real. It's so odd. Wow. Wait, we have a very people have questions. We have a very long question here. I'm not sure we can answer everything, but maybe we can answer some of it.
Yeah.
Many high ranker officials are described. What is the official power level aimed for these characters? Are they mundane, future heroes, future legends? Clearly better than a hero, future leaders of family faction race? Will they often have to interact with leader-like NPC? Oh wow, that's a lot. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question, because the claim when you make your character in Household is that we are telling the story of someone who somehow made history but didn't make it to the
history books.
So your character is somehow important to the story, but will not be in the history books, and that's your role, to write his story and to put him in your history book. So you are going to encounter a lot of NPC. There are leaders of nation or important NPC, and you are going to interact in a certain way with these people. And as you go through the saga, your saga or our saga, you will grow, because every year in the saga, every chapter of the game is actually a year. So when you play Household, you play through the years. So it's like, of course, the inspiration is always something like War and Peace, when the character really develops, or Les Miserables, when you follow a character for a long time. So yeah, that's. I don't want to steal too much time answering this question, but it's a good question, and you will interact with these characters on a certain level.
Cool. That's not exactly a question, but it will lead us to our next topic. Wonderful box. Yes. If you watched the trailer carefully, you will have noticed this beautiful thing right here. What can you tell us about it?
That's when we said it was just a plain book. This tells you how much we loved that plain book, because we decided, okay, we are going to make covers, because covers are cool, and Daniela is so talented, and we wanted to do a different edition, of course, for the second edition. And let's mention that's the first time we are bringing Household to the international edition. To the international audience. So it's the first English edition of the game. And we decided to make this exclusive bookcase that will look like a Regency era book, something from the first half of the 19th century, and something that reminded of the first edition of Household. So it's like a little relic for us, and also I think it's pretty cool, so it helps.
It is really, really pretty. What is that we can see inside the box, on the inner part?
We have a view of the house from the outside, and this. So on one side we have this kind of a book with a magnetic closure that you can put in your bookcase and on your bookshelf. And the other side we have this wide view of the house. This was not made by Daniela, but by Alessandro Paviolo. It's another Italian artist, together with Antonio De Luca. So also good job to them doing these amazing works. And of course, it will feature all the 3 books and maybe something else.
Who knows?
I think something that wasn't in the teaser, but we're going to talk about today as well, is the fortune system and the changes it underwent in the past in this edition. And of course, to talk about that, we need to talk about these.
The custom Household
babies.
Let's begin with a brief history. I love beginning anything with a brief history. Household was our first game. In Household, we used a system. Then we further developed into what have become the fortune system of Broken Compass. It has the pool of d6s, the first edition of Household, and you need to obtain 2, 3, 4 of a kind, etc. Then we polished our system into what is known now as the fortune system, and from the fortune system is born this entirely new system of Household, which we define favored by fortune. It's a way of saying that it is like a sum of the fortune system. It's not the exact system of Broken Compass. It is very different, but it has the same core concepts at its base. The first things that it's very different from Broken Compass is that Household has its own custom dice that will alter significantly the experience of play. We have these 6-sided dice with a blank face and a joker face. The blank face does not comes into combination with any other faces, while the joker face can make a 2, 3, or 4 of a kind with another different symbol. And that's a main concept. The game itself, looking at Broken Compass, it's a little bit more, I don't know how to say, it's full. It has more stuff because, as someone was saying in the comments before, Broken Compass, we talked about Broken Compass for smaller campaign, 3, 4, 6 session long campaign, while Broken Compass, it means to last, like in 11, 12, 20, 40 sessions. So there are a lot more things that can help the character growth, both linear and non-linear. That's it. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the system, but it's like a sum of the fortune system. The same concept of basic critical success, the same love we have for this movie, this cinematographic-like actions and stories, but it has another layer in the social encounters that are very more meaningful in Household than in Broken Compass, for obvious reason. And that's it. So it will be a very, very, very different, very much different from the first edition, and another, I don't know how to call it, evolution of our own system.
Yeah.
And it's very intuitive, I think, right? I think that's part of the appeal of the system.
Yes.
It's very visual if you failed or not.
Yeah. And also because this whole idea that we make successes by making 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, allow you with a single roll not only to know if you failed or if you succeeded, but also the degree of your success. Because if you need a couple and you make a 3 of a kind, that's one higher rank of success. And if you make like a 4 of a kind, it's 2 level higher than you need. And so it's really easy to calculate successes and to calculate also the degree of the success. That was our goal. And the game itself, it scales a lot when you start at chapter 1, when you start your adventure. So it's really easy. You have not a lot of stuff on your sheet that you have to take in consideration, and when you develop your character, you unlock a lot of stuff, and the game gets a little bit deeper as you learn how to play. So that at least that what we wanted to do, to have a game that scaled a lot.
I see a question here that I think you touched on this before, but maybe we can talk about it a little bit more. Considering that the fragile piece is a saga, and I imagine the events are somehow supposed to go in a certain way, how much room is there for players' agency and free choices?
But the idea behind the fragile piece, the saga, fragile piece is the era in which whenever session, whenever game you decide to play, it's bound to happen. The idea is that during the 5 years long fragile piece, which you can live entirely, there are, I think, 6, 7 fixed historical events that we know happened. In some way, we do not know how they happened or why they happened or by whom. The example we made like a big breakout from the biggest prison in the basement. We know it happened. The history books in our metagaming history book says that on that day something happened and a lot of prisoner escapes from this huge prison. We don't know how, why, and we don't know if your player were into it or there were the ones who were bounded to quote the escapee. We don't know that. So you have a lot of room for free choices while you respect these, I don't know, these milestones, if you can call it like that. That are the only things that cannot change in the fragile piece. As Rico said,
I think that's from our experience. I would say that that's a lot of room for players' agencies and improvisation, because we have seen like 6 or 7 complete sagas. I mean, people who played 24 character through more than 80 sessions. And every saga came out differently, so I would say that that there's a lot you can do. I know it sounds strict when we say there is a history and you have to, but you have to consider it like a normal geographical setting. Like there is, of course, there is a city that is made a certain way. So of course you cannot go through walls. Of course you have boundaries because the city is built a certain way, and we have also boundary in the time frame. But it's pretty open. It's something you can easily work around and see how and if it interacts with you. So it's easier to do than to explain.
Yes.
But I think it's somehow easier to understand if you compare to regular world history. It's like an RPG that is set on, I don't know, feudal Japan. Yeah. So there is a bunch of things that have to happen because you chose a real setting. But the stories of the characters themselves are pretty open.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it, basically.
Yes. There are things in the game, like history, that are bigger than the characters. History is bigger than the characters. Apart from that, they are completely free. That is.
I see we have many French people joining us, so hello there. Okay, I think to illustrate that, a good thing we can, not the French people, I mean the historical, like the freedom of agency inside a setting. A pretty good example is in the Quickstart rules we published, right? Can you walk us through that?
Well, there is a Quickstart guide you can download. There are links like everywhere in this the 2LM page on Facebook, and it has 100 pages of beautiful illustration and facts about the house, the litlings who inhabits the house, the profession you can play as, the adversaries, and it also has a little playable adventure that is called Pride and Prejudice and Centipedes. after a movie with zombies that was called this way after, of course, a book. Pride and Prejudice and Centipedes, for example, it's a good example of how we write stuff. Mainly because we wrote that, but also because it has a lot of choices you can make, and that somehow changes the course of the events. Of course, there are some things that are bound to happen that are outside of you, but how they will happen, how they will end, how they will interact with the world, how you will interact with them is totally up to you, and it's very free form actually. You also have 6 pre-made characters that you can choose from to play your adventure, and it really has everything you need to play and to just wrap your hand around what are we doing, what's our philosophy for this game.
Anything to add there, Simone?
No, I think that Rico Stesido, the Quickstart guide, we are very proud about how it conveys our thoughts about the games and tips about the systems and spoilers about what will be inside the various books. And there's this brand new adventure. We might see this Pride and Prejudice and Centipedes is brand new. There wasn't any
Italian audience, yes.
similar to it in the first edition, and so it's very peculiar. It's very household. Pride and Prejudice and Centipedes. We have everything. We have the love story. We have the various folk interact. We have a lot for little things and for Centipedes, of course.
And Centipedes.
Features.
Spoiler alert, Centipedes.
Centipedes, of course. We have Prejudice and also Centipedes.
It's all there.
That's all there is.
What more could you possibly want from an RPG?
And this is a very complete Kickstarter guide from what I understand. It's over, I don't know,
It's
50,
98, 96
100
pages.
easily.
Yes.
100 page. You cannot go 2 pages without an original art. It's very we are so proud of this Quickstart because it has all our experience on our love for the game. We put it inside the Quickstart, and we are so glad that we can share such a huge amount of Household for free, because it's a lot of stuff. If you just download it, it's really huge. But Household, it's so much more. It's so much bigger. We have so much stuff going on that we can easily share this much without spoiling too much. I'm really content with this Quickstart guide. I hope you will download it and you let us know what you think.
And if you play it, remember to add us on Instagram, Facebook. We love to see it. Especially if you're in, I don't know, cosplay or something. I know Household fans are very active in that department, right?
We had our fair share of cosplayers a while back when the con still existed, but now they are starting all over again. We are very proud of it. And so yes, there is also a Discord bot for the ones of you who like to play using Discord. There are online sessions. We made a bot just for Household, which is very, very, very cute.
Yeah, it allows you to roll the custom dice, so it makes really easier to play in these circumstances when we, at least in Italy, we are still playing mostly online due to the current situation. So it's really it's something useful also to just start play without worrying too much.
Well, I think our time is almost up, but I think we have time for this final question from someone who is definitely a long-time backer. Are we in for many surprises in the Kickstarter campaign?
No, that was all. We don't
Zero
have anything.
surprise.
I'm sorry. I can go 10 more minutes. I haven't. That was all I've got. No, of course we have. I think you'll be surprised.
Yes.
I was surprised during making this campaign with all the guys at 2LM Simone. So I think we are in for a for a
fair
wonderful
share
campaign.
of surprises. We can't wait to share with you all the surprises we have in store. And my mouse is there. Okay.
Well, I think that's the time we have for today. Thank you both for joining me today. Any final message for our viewers? Let me just pick one. Let's start with Rico. Okay, like we were in how do you call it? A standoff. Like you're going to say, or am I going to
Mexican
say?
standoff? Like we were. Thank you for having us here, and thank you for working with us during these past months. I know we worked a lot together, but 2LM and Simone doing this ambitious project. Can't wait for the Kickstarter to launch. It will launch. I can say it will launch very soon. So keep an eye on everything. You'll find links everywhere. The Quick Start, the bookmark on the Kickstarter page. Mostly, I hope you will follow us during this new campaign, and you will let us know if you play Pride and Prejudice and Centipedes, how it works for you, and and if you enjoy as much playing as little people as we do. So thank you all.
Now for Simone.
Rico just said it all. Really, we are so proud to bring for the first time to the international audience our firstborn, our first game, our first project that brought us in this new, magical, incredible world that is the role-playing game community. So we can't wait to share it, the complete version with you all. Really.
Well, thank you both for joining me today, and thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you very soon. So, bye for now.